Meet Karine, the director of the Career Coach. Karine has had a dynamic career from having worked with special needs children, was yacht crew, worked for the Department of Justice as a clinician, and as a program facilitator in maximum correctional facilities. She has degrees in organizational psychology, counseling, and business. Karine helps crew gain mastery in their personal and professional life. She aids crew before they enter the industry, while they're on board, and later to transition them to land with an exit strategy. She's obsessed with her work and loves seeing her clients thrive.
Hello everyone, thank you again for joining me at Yachtfemme. I am very happy to introduce you today to, well, you must know her already, Karine Rayson. She has been so wonderful to me, such a support. She's also a yacht dame already, and I'm so happy for her that she just won an A Crew Award this weekend. So congratulations, Karine.
Thank you so much, Andrea, and thank you for having me. To be honest, I feel just hearing you say the intro was so touching because I recall our journey together going into business, and I think it's so beautiful that you can forge these amazing relationships, and we haven't even met each other, but I feel like our journeys have been very similar, so it's very touching. Thank you.
You're true. That's so right. There's some people that I feel like, have we not met yet in person? Is this true? It is actually true. But sometimes, especially when you're starting out your new business, it can feel very alone. You put in so many hours in. Karine is all the way in Australia, and I'm in New York, and still you found support like at very wee hours of the night writing. Are you still there? Are you still alive? I need a soundboard. So I'm very thankful Karine has been there for me for many, many times.
Thanks.
But without further ado, let's dive in because I want you guys to get to know Karine as well. Karine, if you can give us a little background about who you are, where are you from, and what do you do in yachting?
Sure. So my name is Karine, obviously, and I was born in South Africa and immigrated to Australia when I was probably about 21 years of age. And I have lived all over Australia from Sydney, Melbourne to Perth, where I'm based now. And I took over the crew coach. The crew coach established in 2009, so it's been around for a very long time. And I think I took over, oh gosh, I 3 years ago. I think it's 3 years ago now, and we have expanded on our services dramatically. So it's so nice that I can continue carrying that flame industry.
So for those that are unfamiliar with what crew coach does, because I know it's super popular in yachting, and especially in the yacht crew sector, which is the ones that mainly benefit from your services. So just give us a little bit of an overview. What is a crew coach, and if you can slide in that why the benefit is so powerful.
So the crew coach supports super yacht crew from the moment they enter the industry until they're ready to leave the industry. Essentially, what we offer is a platform that helps crew with their personal and professional development.
And I love this platform. I also, when people are new to the industry, this actually just happened last week. This is one of the websites that I always recommend to look out and to understand what it is to be part of the community in the yachting industry, because as we were talking before, these platforms and communities and social influencers didn't exist. So, and when you're new to yachting, you just don't know what keywords or how to even find these people. So it's good to give them a little list of like, these are the 5 people that you should be tuning into, and then you'll see how your world in yachting it just continues to expand. So that's awesome. Again, I wish I had that when I was on board a yacht. If you can tell us, how did you get into the yachting industry? I remember it being a very cool story. So can you share with us?
Sure. So I got into yachting. I was actually on holiday in South Africa, and my friends were talking about the industry. I've never heard of the industry prior to that. And I was on holiday because I was looking after a special needs child back in Australia, and I'm very much into the power of visualization and the law of attraction. And I think I manifested this. It was crazy. But I was having the best time in Cape Town, and I really didn't want to leave and go back to work. Less than 24 hours of flying back to Australia, I got a call from my boss saying, if you're having a good time, stay. There's been a family crisis. And I was like, oh, amazing. Okay. So not for, obviously not amazing for them, the crisis, but I got to hang out in South Africa for a bit longer. And that's when I did my SCCW 95. And less than a week of flying back to Australia, I did something called kloofing, otherwise known as canyoning, and went to a place called Suicide Gorge, where I jumped off a cliff and snapped my back and fractured my pelvis and had to be airlifted out. And then I was told...
I don't remember that part.
I was told that I wouldn't be able to fly back to Australia for 6 weeks, and I had to wear a brace. And I felt like I brought that upon myself, because I was like having the best time. And again, when it was time to go home, I really didn't want to. And the picture I had in my mind was me literally hanging onto a mountain and my friend saying, come on, Karine, we're going to put you on the plane, you got to go. And I fell off, well, I didn't fall, but I jumped off the mountain and snapped my back. Yeah, so it was crazy. Anyway, I had a job lined up in South Africa through a friend who worked for the captain. And so once I was well enough and fit enough to work on board, I flew into Ancona, and that's when it all started for me.
So you started in Ancona and then you got on board a yacht.
Yeah, I got on board straight away, and I worked on about 3 yachts. I worked on 3 yachts in total in my yachting career.
And then I do remember you saying that you did work in a jail, in a prison. So where's that?
Yeah, so that was post yachting. I found that on board I was the sort of the in-between trying to manage all the interpersonal dynamics and the conflict. And I have my background in counseling psychology, and I've been discussing this week in my group coaching calls, actually, and the importance of finding your why at work. And look, to be very honest with you, I wasn't passionate about my role as a stewardess or chief steward, and I didn't think that this was going to be my career for the rest of my life. But what I did discover, and I obviously did my job at the best of my ability because that's who I am, but I found a different side of yachting in terms of where I could utilize my skill set and make an impact. And that was a huge aha moment for me when I realized I actually know what I want to do with my life and how I can serve others. And that was the defining moment. And I decided to leave the industry and take up further studies. And that's when I was offered a position in a jail 2 years before actually finishing my degree. And I thought, oh my gosh, are you kidding me? Like, that's probably the worst job, like, of all jobs. Why am I getting offered this one? And then I thought to myself, you know what? If I want to be the best therapist out there, you just will do the hardest job, Karine. Just do it. And I did it. And honestly, it was the best thing I've ever done. And I still miss it to this day. I wish I wrote a book about the experience, because it was, I guess it's very similar to it's working on a super yacht. You have access to a world that's so extraordinary, and being in a prison was very similar. And to be invited into their world and for them to open up. Like I ran group programs, therapeutic programs, one-on-one work. That was sensational.
But wasn't it scary even a little bit?
You know what scared me the most?
What?
Was the thought of walking into the prison yard and being wolf whistled at. That's what scared me. We digress.
Yes. So let's go back to you. I know you said it wasn't that this interesting, but for the people that don't know what it is to have their own company, and not their own company, a company that you've been lifting up from zero and managing yourself and creating the content by yourself, and then I don't know, you have an amazing newsletter, so there's just so many products that you push out on a daily basis. So can you run us through like what is a day at work for you? What is the behind the scenes of creating all this information that you are putting out?
To be honest, I'm so tempted. I was speaking to someone about this yesterday to film my day because it is whacked like crazy. I'm an extreme multitasker. I listen to podcasts double the speed with ease. It's like blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, people are like, what are you listening to? And it's like, for me, it's clear. And when you play it like 1.5 times the speed, I'm like, it feels like they're slurring. But my time is so incredibly valuable, and I think you would feel the same way. A lot of people do. There's not enough of it. And how I've managed, I actually don't even know. I don't know how I've done it. It is so difficult taking over someone else's company, I think, rather than building it from scratch, because there's systems you got to understand and know. And yeah, it was hard work. The first year I felt like I was seriously swimming, and I had to swim hard to get to the shallow end, otherwise I would sink. It's about being consistent as well. I think I've shown up every single day since I started, and I'm very conscious in how I show up. I don't show up for the sake of showing up. I show up to offer value, and a lot of it is also highlighting and showcasing our community and what's important to them, not what's important to me. It's about what's important to them.
So 2010, you were on board, on 3 different yachts. Then you took a break from, I guess, the yachting industry, getting the counseling and being in the prison, and then went back to give value back to personally and professional with the yacht, the crew coach. So I would say you've been watching over the industry for a few years now, at least seeing it from within and from afar. Have you seen any changes since you were on board to now?
I would say that the biggest change I think that's happening for our industry is that crew have a voice. We didn't have a voice before, and I think that's the power of social media. So they're beginning to speak up, and they're beginning to find those support networks to really be that crutch for when they need it. I felt like I couldn't trust the authorities in our industry when I was crew. I felt that the priority was the owner, which naturally so it should be, and say the captain, but the crew would come last. And the crew are the backbone of the yacht. They're probably the most important part of the yacht, and we need to take better care of our crew. It's not sustainable to neglect them. It's not sustainable to have a culture where bullying and sexual assault is okay on board. And as I said previously, this community is very small. So I don't think you can get away with these sort of behaviors anymore. Like, you will be found out. So in terms of changes, yeah, I think it is changing.
So now they have more power, or they're being heard more because they do have a megaphone through social media. Um, what changes have you seen with that? You're saying you're mentioning a lot of problems that people don't see that are on board, um, from neglect, personal neglect, burnout. The other one that you were mentioning was like sexual assault, bullying. So now that there is the power of social media, how has that changed that environment that you're describing?
Well, I think crew now have the confidence to, as I said before, like speak up, whereas before we were suppressed and we didn't have a voice. The more, and this is what my vision was for my platform on social media, is to have that safe space to talk about these issues. Two of my clients were raped last month, two separate clients. And the reason why they haven't spoken up is and this is, I hear this all the time, is they feel like they're not going to be believed. And they don't want to ruin the perpetrator's life, even though their life has been ruined, they don't want to ruin it. And I speak about these topics on my platform, and I get messages from crew all the time. Thank you so much for speaking about this. This happened to me. And that's what I mean by having the voice, a safe space, and also knowing the person behind the crew coach that they can hopefully trust and get to know to be able to speak about their concerns and get help around it.
So thankfully you have seen changes, and wow, the power of social media is really, I'm happy to hear that it's helping these issues. Where do you see yachting going?
I want it to be an industry that we're proud to be a part of. That's my hope. And my hope is that the abuse of power will disappear.
Well, yeah, we definitely should be there already, but a question about you. I feel you have accomplished so much. I am so happy that I have been here when you got featured in amazing magazines and other journalism and just won this award. Could you name a moment in yachting when you have been super proud and you felt like not only that you made it, but look, this is me, I accomplished this?
Are you referring to myself as crew or as the crew coach?
I'm referring to you in the yachting industry. Any moment that you felt super happy and rewarded for something you accomplished? It could have been on board, off board, or through the crew coach.
The first thing that comes up for me is to be invited to the Monaco Yacht Show to speak on sexual assault and harassment. And it was only the very early days of the crew coach for myself. And that was a huge honor to be invited to speak on such an important topic and to be on the panel. So yeah, that was a highlight, a definite highlight for me. And I know there's so many more. The fact that I don't, even though I work 7 days a week and long hours, it's such a joy for me to do what I'm doing. And that's problematic because I can't separate my like personal life to work life. It's just like all rolled into one. And yeah, but I'm so lucky and I'm so happy that I took the risk to start that and to back myself and believe in myself that I can hopefully make a difference. And I'm certainly seeing it. I was thinking about it today. I think this year in particular, I've never had so many men approach me for counseling. And that's another change.
That's a very big change.
Yeah.
So for my favorite question now, now that you've been in the yachting industry for so long, you have learned so much from being on crew in the nitty and gritty and from afar, helping other people that are still going through that journey. I'm sure you have many life experiences that have matured you in a very big way. So if you could go back to that first day in yachting, or when you're at least beginning your trajectory in the yachting industry, what would you tell yourself? What would you advise yourself back then?
I would tell myself not to be afraid to ask for help, to be very honest with you. I had no idea how to tie knots. And when it came to doing the fenders, I used to get incredibly nervous because I didn't feel confident in what I was doing. And I was scared to ask for help in case I was seen as inadequate or not worth hiring. And that's when mistakes happen, like very, very dangerous mistakes could happen if you don't ask for help. And I think it's so important to, put your ego aside and reach out when you need it.
That's really good. Yeah, I remember being many times afraid, but because of exactly what you said, if I ask this, I will show that I don't know enough. Therefore, I will diminish my value, show that I shouldn't be here. All this negotiation in my head with myself. No one was thinking that of you. So you're the one putting yourself down before even opening your mouth.
But it does go two ways. The yacht also needs to have that climate of it's okay to ask for help, because if you're going to be ridiculed for reaching out, then you're not going to ask for help. So I think, it comes from both ends, and as heads of departments, you need to be very aware on how you approach crew who are feeling vulnerable or don't know what they're doing.
So can you share a little bit more in depth? I know you give us a little bit of overview of what the crew coach do. Can you tell us what services you offer, and if you have any new projects for 2021 that you would like to share with us as well?
Sure. In terms of future plans, I am hoping to start running retreats. Bali's around the corner for me, so ideally it'll be in Bali and then perhaps Sri Lanka or Palma. But the idea of the retreats is to disconnect and replenish yourselves, your soul, your mind, and find what's important to you again. And what I've noticed also with the membership, we do a lot of group coaching, and it's an opportunity for crew to really open up and share what's going on for them and get the right support. Conscious of not to share all my services because I don't want to overwhelm people, but I also do HR on super yachts. And I think that in terms of the question you asked earlier about the future of our industry, I think we need to start treating our yachts as mini organizations. So we need to focus on the human element side of yachting.
That's great. Don't worry, she does have a lot more services, and she's super easy to talk to. So if you even DM her, she will respond. But don't worry, all the information of how do you get in touch with Karine will be in the description below, so you will not miss a beat. I highly recommend that you subscribe to her newsletter now. There's so much information on the free content on them that it's so beneficial for you to stay tuned and understand and just get someone else providing you the knowledge, which she does through her great newsletters. So thank you, Karine. You may not know this, but what time is it for you right now?
It's 10 past 10, way past my time, way past.
So thank you so much for taking the time to be here when it's already your bedtime. We're both struggling with the time difference here, but thanks again. This means a lot.
No, my pleasure. My pleasure. Thanks for having me, and thank you for everything that you do for our community. I really appreciate it.
So go check her out, and I hope you enjoy this. Have a good day.
Bye.
Thank you so much for listening to Yachtfemme. If you like what you heard, please like, subscribe, and comment. Your comment will help us reach a broader audience. And don't miss the next episode. Bye!